Hello, back with my scent of the day, and today I'm wearing one that I actually have worn now 2 times in 3 days. So, in that video where I said I don't review things, I just put them on initially. A couple friends of mine pointed out that that's not true. Had to be pointed out. They were like, you don't just always put it on in the morning. Why are you saying that? Sometimes I wear something and I don't make my video until the afternoon, and I tell you the whole journey. So that's true. I still don't do any notes though, but that's true. And this was one of them. I couldn't make a video on Monday when I wore it. I was at the hospital with Miss Fritz, and I put this on thinking, this is funny. I put this on thinking this is Aventus. That's what I thought. Like many other people would, many people in the fragrance community. I'm programmed that if I see a sweet citrus, I see black currant, and I see birch, got to be Aventus, right? It's got to be somewhat similar. Those 3 notes, make that what I'll even call the Aventus Accord, or 2 of those notes. Yeah, they make it, and I'm like, it's got to be Aventus, but it's not. It's not Aventus at all. He calls it a citrus gourmand, and it is quite a journey because of that blast of candied orange, not orange candy, but candied orange, meaning he sugared up the orange. That comes up first, and as it may know, I really don't like candy to sweeten stuff, and so for me, it's sugar that way, and so that was averse to me right away because it was just candied citrus, and that was all that I had smelled, and so at that time I gave it like a 6 in the beginning of it. And then it lists these notes. I read them. Candied orange, mandarin, blackcurrant, patchouli, birch, and mineral notes. That's all that's listed. And I didn't look it up on Friday. I didn't look it up. But when you look it up, it has a lot more notes. And so it has lime peeled, candied orange, the mandarin that I mentioned, and bergamot. So 2 more notes in the top. And then it has the blackcurrant and birch, which do you think does the Aventus triad. But then it has cypress and cedar, leather, patchouli, and tobacco, all in that middle. And then it has mineral notes, vanilla, and musk. So anyway, for me, as soon as that candy started to die down, another thing came in, and I associated it that day with once I found out what all the notes were with that cypress and cedar. When I came home that night and tried to figure out why did that do that. I associate it with the cedar and cypress mixed together. I have Banana Republic's cypress cedar, and that goes in a completely different vein. It goes into the Terra di Hermes vein for me, and I think that combination of those like almost Christmas type, the cedar's not, but the cypress and that candy, that clash there. I didn't like that, and so it went down for me from a 6, it went to a 4. But life's a journey, as it says, and so are fragrances. So initially, when I wore it that day on Monday, I was going to a meeting, and so I put a coat on because I sprayed it here. Yeah, I sprayed it here, but it was raining anyway. But I put a raincoat on. I thought, okay, now I'm not gonna smell this, because to me it had a distinct smell that I didn't like, And then when I got out of my meeting and I'm in the car driving and I'm like, ooh, that smells good. And I'm like, wow, that's really great. And it is great now. I've had it on now for a while. And it dries down to this great smell. And so by the time I got to the hospital, Miss Fritz smelled it, and she's like, it's an 8 or a 9. And I'm like, well, hon, you wouldn't have liked the beginning of this. And so that's why I wore it today. I wanted to see the journey again. And I had the similar reaction. I got both similar smells. But this time I wanted to see how long that lasts because I had a little time. And it was about an hour, maybe an hour, 10 minutes, maybe an hour 15. It starts to converge back into whatever it's going to dry down to. And I don't know how to describe this dry down. I don't want to say it's Aventus, but I guess the birch is getting in there with some of the other notes. And it has that smokiness, but a sweet smokiness. And it's really good. And it's really good, and so on this fragrance it went from 6, 5, 9, and most fragrances I have don't do that. They don't do such a drastic. They don't do that transition. They go up or they go straight sideways, but there's no this and there, And but that's the good thing about these independent ones and these ones. They don't have to please everybody. They're not looking to do that. They're looking to make something unique, something that, for a person that would like that journey. And I'm starting to like that journey. I'm starting to appreciate the journey. And so in that case, if you're somebody that wants to experience something journey and think that it's worth it to get to this is a good fragrance. And with that, I went and I didn't watch any reviews, and I didn't look at the notes, and I didn't look at the remind me ofs before I mentioned all that. And but since then, I have looked at a review, and I found a famous reviewer who I won't mention, so I don't have to tag, who has a second channel on fragrances, and he calls that second channel Extra, the name of his channel. He just started it for more in-depth reviews, and this is one he reviewed. And he mentions exactly what I mentioned about the Aventus stuff. That our mind's eye just sees these notes, and that's where we go. If you've been smelling or if you've been interested in fragrances for a little bit, shouldn't do that, but it does. But the other thing I want to say this about the other thing, where I said it went down to a 4. He said it went up the opposite way. And he had a different smell associated with that middle part, that transition part. He said it was like wet grass. For me, it was more like a pine saw with candied fruit on it, which I didn't really like. To him, it was more like grassiness and wet grass. And he actually liked that middle part. So, he's been doing this a lot. He is a reviewer. He knows a lot more about fragrances. So that you might want to take his point on that. So anyway, with that, please pray for peace. Please help me be kind, and I just want to thank everybody who's watching along with me. And I'm going to try not to tag anymore. That's one thing. Not anybody. I mean, I will tag people that are in my small tight group. Yeah? In anything you make, I want this for my grandkids. In anything you do in life, you want to tighten your circle. Trust me, you want to tighten your circle. I learned that on the streets of Kensington, with your grandpa, that you want to tighten your circle. I learned that in the military, that you want to tighten your circle, and you do that all throughout life. You tighten your circle. You make sure you know who you know, and they know you. And that's real important in life, to have a tight circle. So I just want to mention that to you. It doesn't mean you don't trust anybody else and you don't let people in your circle, but it's always good to know what circle you're in and have your circle. So with that, again, have a nice day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.